everyone. Welcome to a beautiful day here in Evansburg State Park, where I am out today for what is becoming an annual gear video. I wanted to give you guys an update on things I've added to my kit, stuff that I've changed. I'm not going to go through everything in my pack. If you're interested in seeing that, you can see my video from last year this time. I'll put the link to that below in the notes. But I did make some changes this year, some pretty minor, some fairly major, and I wanted to go over those with you today. The first thing I wanted to point out, and you may have noticed this already, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that when I started out, I bought a stick pick that goes on the end of my trekking pole, and I had to give it up fairly quickly because several of the components broke within the first 3 or 4 times I used it. So I was really disappointed with that, and I didn't replace it. But it's been getting very hard for me to do first-person perspective conversations with you folks while I'm hiking, because I've got the camera right in my face. So I really wanted to try it again. So I did order a new stick pick. This is what it looks like. Only I changed one thing with it this time. Instead of putting it on the end of my pole where the manufacturer says it should go, and then you use this bolt to tighten it down so it doesn't come off, it actually did come off. I ended up losing it because it got too loose and came off. So instead, I took the trekking pole all the way out and stuck the stick pick through the pole. So now it can't fall off. I generally don't have to worry about tightening it. I'm not sure if this will work on all trekking poles. Uh-oh, something's trying to get away from me. It's a breezy day here today. But it works really well. These are the Cascade Mountain Techs, which technically are also new. I got these last fall. But I find having it on here makes it a lot more stable. I don't really have to tighten it very much, and it's a lot easier for me to hold out to be able to have a better conversation while I'm hiking. So if you're interested in getting a stick pick, I know I've seen other people who have had problems with them falling off. I would definitely recommend trying to do it this way, sticking your trekking pole through it instead of just sticking it on the tip. Another new piece of gear that I just purchased, finally, I've been trying to get one of these 1/8 inch foam pads. Gossamer gear is the manufacturer most people know having them. Unfortunately, we've been trying to get them since the fall, and they have not been in stock, and they have not come back in stock, even though I'm on the notice lists and check the website fairly regularly. But I did see that Outdoor Vitals has started selling these. They sell them on a pre-order basis. So you have to wait to get a notification. You sign up for their mailing list, wait for the pre-order notification, and then you can jump on and get one. I got one for me and one for Deb. These are great because they are extremely thin. They're thinner than a yoga mat, and they're much lighter because of the kind of foam it is. And you can use them as a sit pad. I really want them to be able to stretch out when I take a break, so I can do stretches and even take a nap if I wanted to without getting dirty or wet from the ground below. They fold up really small and light. I think I'm just going to carry this in my outside pocket. The other thing this will be really good for, and I may end up doing a video on this later, I ran into a couple of situations last year where it was very hard for me to find a place to hang a hammock. And if I had had the ability to ground camp, there were several places that I could have stopped, but I could have ground hung my hammock and my tarp, but I wouldn't have had any protection underneath me. So a couple of things I'm going to add is I'm going to add this. I'm probably going to add either a small Tava cloth or a piece of polycryl plastic. That's like the plastic that you put on your windows to seal them up for the winter, keep the cold out. just to give it a little waterproofness. And then if I do have to go to ground in my hammock, I'm not getting soaked through. It's not going to give me a lot of warmth. It's not going to be a comfortable night's sleep, but at least I would be able to stop when I needed to. So Outdoor Vitals has these pads now. I believe I paid $25 for this. I got the standard length. I'm probably going to end up cutting it down a bit, but because I'm a short person, I'm only 5'2", so I don't need a whole 6-foot foam pad. But I'm going to try that out on my next trip, see how that works out. I'm pretty sure you folks have seen this, and I've mentioned it a couple of times in some of my videos, but I did want to talk about my Aqua Clip. This, I've tried using a couple of different shoulder pouches for my water bottles, and they didn't work for me. Because it was held so tightly in place, it was always in my way when I was trying to grab something, or when I was trying to reach, or even just walking. It was in an uncomfortable place, so it really wasn't working out for me. And then I found the Aqua Clips. You can get them at aquaclip.com. They're like $3 each, so they're really cheap. And it's just a little plastic clip. The neck of it fits around the neck of your water bottle. It works on all the smart water bottles and the plastic bottles that most hikers use. It also does fit around the neck of the 1-liter Be-Free bottles. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but it will fit on that. So if you prefer just using the collapsible bottle on the Be-Free, this works great on that. And all you do is you snap that on just like that, and then you can hook it in your shoulder strap, you can hook it in your waist belt, you can hook it to anything, and it pivots as you walk. So if I'm walking and I'm reaching, it's going to move out of the way instead of forcing my arm to move. So I really like these Aqua Clips. I have a couple, I keep a couple in the car all the time. I do have a couple of extras in case they break or I lose them. I have never had an issue in the 8 months, 9 months I've been using them. I've never had an issue with them breaking. You can get these through Z-Packs does carry them as well. They're like twice as much, and why pay the extra when you can get them straight from the source? So aquaclips.com, I highly recommend these. You've seen my umbrella. I'm not going to go into this too much. This is the 6 Moons Design umbrella. I really like it. It's great when it rains. It'll be great when it's sunny. If I want to take a nap, I can put down my new pad, put my umbrella over me, and go to sleep. So I am a camp shoe user. I like because of my foot issues, I really like being able to take my boots off at the end of the day, put on a different pair of shoes, and do my camp chores and spend my evening without having to have my boots on. I have been taking my Tava sports sandals. I love them. They're stable, they're comfortable, I can do water crossings with them and not worry about them coming off. But they're a little heavy. They're just about £1 for the pair, which is a little much. And so I've been trying to find alternatives. The Zero shoes were really expensive for what I was looking for. Since I already had the sports sandals, I was like, eh. But then I saw a recommendation for swim shoes, and several people recommended the brand Fit Kicks. So I decided to try them out. I think they were about $20 for the pair. It's 7 ounces, and they're actually very comfortable. It has a nylon top, so lots of breathability. It does have a good rubber sole, so I would feel pretty comfortable wearing these doing water crossings. So I'm looking forward to trying these out, and we'll see how they work out. One new thing that I am very excited about that I got, and it would be really appropriate on a day like today, is I got a windshield for my stove. This is the Optimus clip-on windshield. It's just like a half circle of metal that clips around the neck of your tank and goes around the stove, and then you can pivot it however you need to block the wind. This is really important when you're using a tank like this. You don't want one of those surround kinds of windshields that a lot of folks will use that's like metal panels, because that's going to focus the heat on the tank, and we don't want this propane getting hot. So by doing this, having it up off the tank and around the neck here, that is going to keep that heat off the tank, but is still going to protect the flame from the wind. I saw a couple of options for doing DIY, but they seemed like they were going to be really hard to pack and not very stable. So I was really excited to find this. Like I said, it's from Optimus. It's a little tricky to find. I had to go to, I don't remember the name of the company. I'll put it in on here when I can find it. But it was a outfitter online that I was able to get it from. And it probably was a little expensive. I think I paid $35 for it. Again, I'll double check that and add that here. But for me, it's really worth it. It's really easy to pack. It just fits around your stove, and so it'll still fit inside my stove bag, so it's not adding any extra bulk, and it only adds a few ounces of weight. So I'm really going to be happy to have this, especially as we get into windier weather. The biggest changes I've made so far have been to my hammock system. I made a couple of changes that I'm hoping are going to improve comfort and ease in setup. One thing that I added is I got extra clips for my underquilt. I was having a problem while I was sleeping. I move a lot in my sleep, and I kept unhooking my underquilt from the hooks that came on the hammock. So I got 2 extra clips on this side and 1 for the other side, just to hold it on a little snugger. It was just a couple of stitches. I put them on with quilting thread, because that's a little, has stronger, that has a little more body to it than regular sewing thread. So I've added those. The other thing I've added is inside, I've added a catch net, they call it a loft, to put some of my bigger stuff in, like my hoodie or anything like that, that I might want in the night, not want to have to get out of the hammock to get, but I don't want it in my way either. One issue I'm having with it, and I'm going to have to play with it a bit, is it's a diamond shaped net that will expand, if this will drop. Sorry about the wind today, guys. So it makes a nice big open space, and it's supposed to clip onto these loops on the inside of the hammock. Unfortunately, the loops are a little big for the hook, so I may need to warm those up and stretch them out a little bit so I can get those to attach. But this is why we do setups and your videos, because it helps us see when things are and aren't working the way they're supposed to. This is the first time that I've set this up since I've made these additions. In fact, I just sewed the hooks on while I was sitting here. So, another important change that I've made is I got a new suspension system. I was having issues with the previous system because it was a daisy chain system, and I was having a hard time adjusting the hang enough to be comfortable. The loops were 2 inches apart, and I needed to drop or raise the foot just like an inch to make it truly comfortable, and I couldn't do that. So I wanted a system that would give me a little more flexibility as far as that adjustment. So I went with the straps and Whoopee Sling system from Dutchware. I love Dutchware's hardware. I like their equipment, so that's what I got. But today, again, was the first time I've set up with this, and I want to show you a couple of the challenges that I've had with it. All right, challenge number one is big trees. I got the 4-foot straps thinking that was going to be plenty big. Unfortunately, it really isn't. I probably should have gotten the 5-foot straps. You can also get 8-foot straps, but I think that really would have been too much. And as you can see, it's just a couple of inches too small for what I need for this particular tree. So what I would need to do is pick a different tree. I might have to find a different location. And if I'm in a situation where it's hard to find any kind of hang, that's going to add a level of complexity. I don't think that having it come down on the Amsteel cord is necessarily a problem. These are like Kevlar. Amsteel is stronger than steel, so if having a little extra pressure on it is going to make it break, there was something wrong with this to begin with. The other problem I had is the other end. This was this strap, and actually this was a problem of my choice of trees. It was too long. I could not shorten the straps enough to get a decent hang on my hammock. So what I ended up doing was, but the strap wasn't long enough for me to wrap it around the tree twice. So again, I might have done better having a longer strap. So that may be a change I make in the future. I'm mostly okay with doing this. The point of the strap is to protect the tree. We don't want to be causing damage to the trees while we're out backpacking. So the strap, because of its width, keeps the hammock and the weight from it from digging into the tree. Now, we do have here, the cord is rubbing on the tree a bit, but for the most part, the weight and the pressure is going onto this strap. So I think the tree is mostly okay. And again, I'm not worried about the strap breaking or the cord breaking, because again, this is Amsteel. But let me show you how a Whoopee Sling works. A Whoopee Sling works very much like the Chinese finger puzzles that we used to play with as kids. You can see this cord is a woven cord. As I said, it's made out of Amsteel, which is a super strong cord. And what they've done is, the cord is fed through itself. And you can see this isn't moving. But if I squish it up and loosen it up, and now it's going to prove me wrong. There, now you can see I can move this through the tube that's created by the weaving in this cord. So this line is just fed back on itself with a big loop here. And I can just feed this through and adjust this to make it as long or short as I need to. If I need to just shorten it a tiny little bit, I just loosen this up and pull, and then I can make that adjustment. But now when I pull on this, it doesn't move. That is locked in place. So it makes for really easy adjustment up to certain, for small increments. So that solves that problem that I had. A challenge with it is you can only shorten it so much. It very wisely has a hook here that's attached to the cord so that you can't pull it all the way through and lose the berry that you have here that's allowing you to make these adjustments. But even shortened all the way, you still are going to have at least this much length. So again, that's going to affect your choice of trees. You're probably going to need to choose trees that are a little further apart. I don't know if you'll remember from some of my previous videos. I have set hammocks up on these two trees before and had no problems with the distance. This time I'm finding that they're a little close together, so that is a challenge for me as far as this goes. But I really like, once I master choosing my hang spots, I really like how quickly it sets up. I just loop this around the tree, hook this onto the hammock, stretch it out, and make whatever adjustments I need to. And then I can put my tarp up. So I think I'm really gonna like this system. I think it's gonna take me a couple of tries just to get comfortable and get familiar with what I need to look for when I'm looking for a hang site. What adjustments do I need to make as far as placement? So, but I'm really excited to get out and try this out. By far the most expensive piece of gear that I've added to my kit this year is my Garmin Inreach Mini 2. After my scare a couple of weeks ago, I decided it was time for me to increase my communication ability. My Spot Gen X worked fine when it worked. I was having problems with it dropping out. Deb borrowed it when she did that last section of the AT in Maryland on her own, and it had her stopped halfway when she was sitting next to me having lunch. At first I thought she had lost it on the trail. So I don't know what was going on with that, but it made me not trust it. So I decided, and then after the issue on Tank Hollow where I was lost because I wasn't getting GPS signal, that was a real wake-up call that I needed something that had stronger GPS capabilities than what my phone had, and that I was able to send specific messages as well as emergency messages. So I did upgrade to the Mini 2. I used my REI dividends this year, so instead of $400 I paid, I think it was $280, so that made it a little easier to swallow. But I'm really grateful to have it. I can send individual messages, just regular text messages if I want to. I can communicate with other hikers. Deb also got a Mini 2, so when we do our hike, if she needs to go ahead of me, we'll still be able to communicate on the trail. It does have mapping capabilities that works with Bluetooth on my phone, so that will help keep me from getting lost, like the situation I had at Tank Hollow. So, and I can get weather on it. So there's just a lot of benefits to having this, especially since I hike on my own so much. So not everybody needs this. I think for most people, especially people who aren't doing heavy backpacking or who don't go out solo as much as I do, so a cheap alternative would be to do what I do. Get a Spot Gen X off of eBay. I think I paid $35 for that. So that was a great option. Even the more recent Spot devices are a little less expensive. They don't have the flexibility that an Inreach has, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. If they work for you, that's a great option. And I think the subscriptions are a little bit cheaper for the Spot than they are for the Inreach. But for my peace of mind, this has been a worthwhile investment for my hiking gear. One last piece of gear that I picked up is I got new lights for the inside of my hammock. My last pair gave up the ghost. I don't know why. I don't know what I did to them. They just stopped working. So I'm going to miss having the rainbow lights, but I did find these. They're actually going to be a lot lighter because the other ones used 2 AA batteries, and this just uses 2 of those little round batteries. It's just a strand of fairy lights. I got 2 of them for $4 off of Amazon. They're designed to go in like wine bottles or mason jars for decoration, but I think they're going to work really nice for just hanging around my ridgeline in the tent. And they light up pretty bright, so I think I'm going to have some good light with these when I need it. And again, it doesn't have to be fancy, and it doesn't have to be real camping gear. You can use what you have and find ways to use that in your pack. So that's everything that I've added this year. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'd love to talk about some of this stuff. If you have suggestions or ideas, I'd love to hear them. I am planning to use all of this in 2 weeks. Deb and I are going to go out and do 3 nights on the Appalachian Trail, going from Penmar Park up to Caledonia Park. So we're going to do that bottom section of the AT in Pennsylvania and catch up to where we left off. I'm looking forward to taking you folks with us. We'll see how I make out. I'm a little nervous about it. My feet haven't been doing great, so we'll see how that 20 miles goes. But I'm looking forward to taking you with us on that, and we'll see how some of this stuff works. You guys have a great week, and I'll see you next time.